Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the high-grade Gundam Amazing Barbatos Lupus, and this right here is from Gundam Build Metaverse. As usual, I got this from those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, link in the description. Now let's get to it. Now this is definitely an interesting kit. So this is a variant of Gundam Barbatos Lupus, but it is in those kind of amazing colors, which is red, as the pilot is Meijin Kawaguchi. We do have a brand new kind of mace in here, referred to as the Amazing Mace, and new backpack referred to as the Amazing Booster Tenshiki, which really does have a mobile armor feel about it. They combine together into this here, the Daiku form, and there's a whole bunch of other things mentioned in here. We've got a thick wire, claws on the arms can be expanded and rotated, and it has an attack called the Amazing Iron Blood. Around on the other side then, we've got the front and back of what this will look like finished once it is built, and speaking of built, let's get it built. So straight away when it comes to these build diverse style kits, or build fighters, or build metaverse, or whatever, a lot of these kits are based on older kits, and I'm always curious as to just how much is actually using, well, the kit it's based on. This, of course, is based on the high-grade Gundam Barbatos Lupus. That is a kit dating all the way back to 2016, so it is a kit, surprisingly enough, that is pushing 10 years old. So I've got the runners here stacked up. This is reused from the original Gundam Barbatos Lupus. That is 3 runners, which in a way could be the entirety of that kit. Those kits didn't really have a whole lot of plastic inside the box, and there's the poly caps for that too. It's going to need a lot of tightening up. This little pile right here, now these are all brand new for this particular kit, so that's all the new weapons and armor, and there is surprisingly a lot of new parts, none of which actually look like they'll be helping out this struggling frame that these Iron-Blooded Orphans kits has, but yeah, let's get it done. By the way, we also have a sprueless or a runnerless stand in here, a wire, and thankfully this is a decent wire. And when it comes to stickers, we've got this little sheet right here, the average kind of amount you'd get for a standard-ish high grade, especially one that's a little bit on the dated side. So what was always one of the most interesting aspects of the Iron-Blooded Orphans kits was the fact that they had pretty much a full inner frame, first time in a high grade. Back then it was absolutely and utterly, completely shocking to see something like that in a high grade, but I've built this high grade Gundam frame probably a quadrillion times at this point, and this right here is 100% unchanged from the standard Gundam Barbatos and the Gundam Barbatos Lupus. So yeah, the entire leg's 100% the same. The only thing that's any different, well, it's just the color. Now at this point I will also mention that this frame is notoriously loose, and it was back in 2016, it still is now, so you're going to have to do a lot of preventative building while building this kit. First off, I'm going to be trying something I've never tried before. That is the Joint Strengthening Pen by Display. According to the side of this is just glue that's in here. It looks like a kind of opaque, cloudy glue, so it's not just, and it doesn't smell like super glue, so it's not super glue. Feels a little bit rubbery, maybe something PVA-esque, I'm not sure. You just actually just paint this onto the joints, kind of like a Gundam marker, and this should tighten up the joints. You're meant to leave it at least 10 minutes before assembly, so I'll be assembling all of this a little bit later, see how it works out. Moving now into the waist unit, and once again, just the same as before, this is exactly the same standard high-grade Gundam Barbatos Lupus waist unit we would have seen before, just with a little bit of a color swap. Stickers are required for on the side thruster mid-jiggers, and I'll also mention that this thing does mark up quite a bit when you're nipping it out compared to the standard white plastic. The navy blue is especially bad, so I do recommend using something like this. This is the Racer Pro by Gun Primer, and I find it's pretty much an absolute one-stop shop for just getting rid of knobs with no marks. Pretty much one and done. So when it comes to the build of this particular kit right here, the Achilles heel is most definitely the central aspect in the torso where the AHAB wave reactors are. And this kit does have Achilles heels too, it falls over all the time, but this is the worst. So I recommend gluing, or should I say cementing, both the front and the back of this together. That would be stage 1, but even more so this section right here, which attaches on in here. This separates as you're moving this kit around and eventually just comes loose. So you do want this to be cemented to the other half without, gluing it to the actual central drum of the inner part of the Barbatos, so be careful there. But yeah, continuing on from there, and besides the neck, this is the exact same build that we would have seen before, just, well, again, color swapped out. The neck does have a little bit of a nasty kind of sticker on it. That obviously would look a bit better painted in 2024. That's not the coolest, but it is pretty easy to get down. And with this last little piece right here attached on, there it is finished. So the only thing that is different is the neck. And I find this polycap is ridiculously tight inside of it for some reason. So I was gonna kind of gloss across the arms a little bit until I realized that the shoulders here actually are brand new for this kit. The rest of the arms are exactly the same, but these shoulders are new. They're very nice too. They've kind of gotten rid of the little kind of power symbol. Wait, no, this is the lupus, so they've gotten rid of the Tekkadan logo we would have seen before, and instead introduced these little spiky bits just like that, which are pretty cool. But that's all that's really new about the shoulders. But yeah, the rest of the arm just builds up in the way the arm always did. The only difference is the shoulder armor is slightly different, but all in all, exactly the same in that still very cool looking Gundam Barbatos Lupus kind of way. This is it finished again, quite simple, but at the same time, very awesome for its time. So getting around now to the final assembly, and the stickers on here are not great. These ones, well, they could be worse. They're just little bits of navy blue for a recessed section in the leg right here. Now, you could probably avoid putting that on and not really ever notice, but even if you do pop it on, it's not the worst around. Simple and just looks like that. Just catch the light differently to plastic though. You can tell it's a sticker. Now these ones right here, I cannot stomach these ones because they have a red section in the middle and then, you know, the kind of shiny green around the outside. So I avoided using these entirely, and I just do a kind of quick way of getting recessed shiny parts the shiny color they need to be. So I just grabbed a yellow-green metallic Gundam marker. I just blobbed this right on into this power icon right here, waited for that to actually cure to dry, and then after it had dried up, I just took the balancers by Gun Primer. I got the grey one first, kind of worked just around it, trying to be kind of careful, and it'll just take off this kind of buff off the surface, removing the paint from where you don't want it to be, and the recessed area still stays untouched as long as you're careful. Then I used the white balancer to kind of buff up the surface a little bit more, so it didn't have that kind of scratchy effect on it. Quick and effective, and I probably should have done it up here as well for the navy blue. But yeah, there we go. Now it's time for the final assembly. I'm going to start with the torso, and it's going to be interesting to see how the actual tightened parts hold up. It's been a little while since I did it, a couple of hours probably at this point. That joint tightener does cure 100% transparent, a little bit shiny. It has a very rubbery feeling to it, so it does seem kind of PVA gluish. We'll see how that does work out. That doesn't feel too bad. How will it hold up though? I guess we will find out. As far as I remember, there's a lot of loose joints. These are very loose too when it comes to the Gundam Barbatos Lupus. Leg, arm, and finally then, the head. And that actually does look pretty cool. It has not been panel lined, it's begging to be panel lined, but sadly I don't have the time because that backlog needs to be slain. So blasting right on into the equipment and getting through that pretty quickly. First off, we've got that brand new mace. So first off with the build of this, I realized that this little section right here, this is separated out. There's no color separation though. This is the kind of shooting aspects of the mace. So if you just sprayed this individually before popping it in like so, you would get some nice color separated little guns on it. Or just detail them up a little bit before assembly. That would work great. We've got a nice fold out handle, which just sandwiches on just like that. And just pops together just like so. Super simple. Kind of looks like a squid. That mace sword from Barbatos Lupus is left over in here. It does say to put together in the instructions. This is just 2 segments. It attaches together, as simple as that, but it's still glorious in its simplicity. So the last thing we have to build in here is the amazing booster Tenshiki. Now this right here is essentially its backpack. It's a support unit and it does look like a mobile armor from Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. This thing is pretty cool. Now this is all brand new, so the build of this definitely feels a little bit more modern than the actual Gundam itself. However, this is very esoteric in its kind of design, which is not very unusual for a build style kit. Usually they're just a kind of assemblage of various parts with no real shape shape or form, and that's kind of what this is, but it does build up in a fun, unique, and interesting sort of way. Everything pops together super simply. We have a bunch of cool claws to pop together, and all in all, it's simple to put together, and it is nice, it looks cool, and it's ridiculously unique to say the least. So jumping right on into the aesthetics, and even though there was a lot of old schoolness about this build, and a lot needed to be put in to kind of get it to the basic level, you know, a lot of that sort of stuff, there is still just something about the majesty of Gundam Barbatos Lupus that just pulls it all together in the end, and it's just completely won me over. There are some hollow aspects. There are some definitely old feeling parts, a lot of mold lines, a lot of nub issues, but overall it's just so incredible looking. I am blown away. I thought the red would not work, but it 100% did definitely. With a little bit more work, and I mean just some panel lining, a little bit of cleaning up, this thing will look, and I will underline look, incredible. So yeah, like I mentioned, there is some issues with this. Just look at the way this thing catches the light. That is so cool. The navy blue on red right there does look incredible. And yeah, like I mentioned, there are a lot of nubs and seams all over the place. I do somewhat feel the red plastic definitely exacerbates the issue with nubs, seams, and mold lines, so you can really see them wherever that they are. Usually on the typical Gundam white, they don't stand out too much, and like I mentioned, I didn't do a whole lot to really combat these on this kit. On top of that, old school aspects like hollow parts are absolutely abound in this, and definitely either filling those in or at least painting the inside in a grey to make them look a little bit more intentional and mechanical will help. And I will mention I did actually point the V-fin up there because it's just something about a Gundam's blade antenna that should be bladed and should be pointy. It's just a case of snipping and sanding and a little bit of buffing to take away the kind of scrapey sandiness. That is it. And also I did do the knees as well, just because I really like the look of that and it's easy to do. I wish I had a little bit more time to put into it, but what I wish even more so is that Bandai would actually make a master grade of the Barbatos Lupus, please. But yeah, throwing it into that full 360-degree spin so you can see everything for yourself. As you can tell, the backpack has not been attached on just yet, and there are quite a few new, well, not really that many. There's only a couple of new aspects to it. The V-fin has been color swapped and changed to be a little bit more over the top, and the shoulders have been changed to have those pointy segments, and the Tekkadan logo has been removed. The backpack is new as well, if I am not mistaken, and the collar around its neck. But besides that, this is the same Gundam Barbatos Lupus we would have seen before, just in a nice new red and navy blue. Also, red plastic tends to be a bit of a sketchy one. Sometimes it doesn't really look that great. As you can see, the nubs and the lines do show up a lot. Red paint always looks a whole lot better than red plastic. But overall, it's not doing too bad. Some panel lining on here, and it would look absolutely stellar. Again, maybe I'm just biased. Give me your opinion. What do you think? Does it look awesome or not? Or am I just absolutely a sucker for the Lupus? When it comes to the size comparison, the Barbatos Lupus has always been a fairly big mobile suit. Now, this is without the backpack on, by the way. There it is with the backpack on, and it's barely balancing, by the way. It's teetering towards the back a little bit, beside the high-grade Gundam Mark II and high-grade Gundam Zeta. And finally, beside the high-grade Gundam Barbatos and the metal robot Damashi Gundam Barbatos Lupus. Anyway, jumping into the accessories, and there's everything that comes with the high-grade amazing Gundam Barbatos Lupus. So we do get a runnerless stand in here, which is definitely handy because it's back heavy. We've got a wire, we've got 2 alternate hands, we've got 2 different variants of maces in here, classic and new, and then we've got that big old backpack as well. So sometimes when it does come to kits that are based off of kits, build fighters, divers, and metaverse style, we do have some leftover parts in the runners. Not so much this time around because most of the Barbatos was used. There is the backpack part, so some of those are left over. Those Tekkadan symbols up off the shoulders, the collar right there. But as far as I can see, oh wait, some of the parts are still here. There's the rest of the Tekkadan shoulders, so you could use those, or take them for maybe some kind of separate Tekkadan related build you want to make. We also do have a spare leftover classic Lupus V-fin right here, as well as the blue section for right in the middle of it. So we do have a full blade antenna, as well as the full backpack and shoulders. And it looks like we do have the functional arm aspects of the backpack too. So there you go, alternate backpack, or should I say original backpack, original Tekkadan shoulders, an original V-fin, all of which pretty cool. So it does come to the hands in here. We've got the hands that have been attached the whole time. That is standard holding hands like so. We do have 2 alternate hands, and these are holding hands as well, but as you can see, the wrist is at a little bit of an angle, so it can hold its weapons outwards in a nice, cool cutting angle. Now, when it did come to the Barbatos Ziz, the hands are always sold separately in an option set to get the widespread ones. And I was like, wait, that came out on the same day as this kit in these boxes right here, because they re-released them in brand new packaging, until I realized neither of these actually have the new hands. Or should I say the widespread hands for using with the Gundam Barbatos. What we actually get is a pair of hands for using with Kimaris with a, well, a blue background, or black background, back armor. And the, oh, I said Kimaris, I mean Vidar. The Vidar actually has kind of dainty hands compared to Gundam Barbatos. However, these right here are cool kits in their own right. I've done reviews of these in the past, at least I'm pretty much sure I did. I'll pop them up on the screen if I did. If nothing's on the screen right now, then I totally didn't. But it's really cool just to get these for stuff like the mobile worker right there. You do have to paint it yourself, but it's cool to have something like that. Also, if you want some long-range weaponry for using with this kit we're taking a look at today, there is a couple of cannons inside of those boxes. But as for the weapons that we do have in here, we've got the classic Gundam Barbatos sword mace, which is exactly what it says it is. It's a big old blunt sword that's very similar to a certain black swordsman. This pops into the hand just like so, and this is kind of an annoying attachment because it is a big old cylindrical handle into a square pegged hand. So if I recall correctly, this doesn't work out the greatest and can sometimes spin in the hand on you, which, you know, this won't too much because it is such a kind of balanced design, but some of these weapons kind of can. Attachment is simple. It's the usual ball joint, pops in just like so. As you can see, that extended angle is extremely handy, but it would have been kind of nice to actually have had a alternate widespread hand for using when getting this into poses, just to kind of like rest on the blade over here, so you don't have to go through all the trouble of popping it into 2 hands. These kits do struggle a little bit with kind of falling apart, which ain't the most awesomest, but once you do manage to wrangle them into some kind of a pose, they do tend to look pretty badass. And hey, who can like argue with an absolute giant sword? So the next weapon we have in here is the amazing mace. Now it says in the instructions this is heavily based on the original Barbatos' mace, but now it's got an autocannon built in, so it does have a long range weapon. So there you can see it there, as well as around on this side here. This of course can be gripped in either or hand, just like the other weapon, or in the standard angle or this extended angle hand. So you can go with whichever combo that you want. Now this actually has this little bit of a section right here that stops this from sliding down, which is pretty cool, even though the actual instructions say to pop it in here like that, and then like that, and then just in like that. So of course this can be used as a mace just like so, or you can actually around that handle and kind of arrange both arms to hold on to this, but this kit is a bit of a pain to pose, honestly. But yeah, as far as kits goes, there really isn't much more annoying a kit around to pose than this thing right here. Anyway, that's what it would look like firing off a few shots of this big old squid cannon of it. And yeah, this thing's falling apart already. It's just falling apart all over the place. So you know what that means is the best idea to do? Throw more shite on it! And the shite in question is this right here, the amazing Booster Tenshiki. This is definitely one unique looking thing full of lots of nice build style hollow bits and pieces, and doesn't really make too much sense on its own as to any kind of design. So just directly following the instruction manual right here, you attach this onto the included stand just like so, and what you are seeing right here is basically how it is when it's built in the manual. So this definitely does resemble a mobile armor from Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. That is pretty much what it's like. It's not as detailed, of course, but it does have a decent amount of articulation, and those kind of mobile armors, they didn't really make a whole lot of sense in their design anyway. There is nothing here for a bend. You kind of expect to have some kind of, well, knees or elbows there, but no. This is what it's like. So there are multiple forms for this guy right here for when it's attaching onto the Barbatos. The first of which is called the Daiku form. Seems like we bring this section all the way back like this, then down a little something like so. Bring this little beak a little bit forward, make sure the wings are attached in. These do have multiple points of locking. When they're not locked, they kind of just droop around like so. So you got to get it locked in. It clicks into position. So we're going to have the wings short, these little bits back almost like a little bit of a tail. And you can kind of see the shape of the wings kind of coming into it right there. Then we just get that popped onto the back of Barbatos. Just like that. Looking a bit demonic, which I guess is apt. Now, I will admit right now that I'm cutting away for extended amounts of time just to post this thing. It really is not awesome in that regard. It's such a mess of falling apart parts. Archimedes is not this kit's friend at all. I remember that so well. The long limbs and the weak joints just do not work together, and no matter how you move, it's eventually just going to fall apart in some way or the other. Terribly, terribly designed, to be blatantly honest. But anyway, there it is in the Daiku form, which is its high mobility form. And what this lacks in structural stability, it makes up for in looking absolutely ridiculously awesome. That does look like a mobile armor on its back, and it does look phenomenal in that red. It looks ridiculously demonic too. This looks killer. So there is another form in here called the Daiju form. By the way, Daiku means pretty much the 9th form, and the Ju is the 10th form. So I guess it means like Barbatos 10th form. So anyway, you just need to remove, well, it likes to fall apart. You're only meant to take off these little sections right here. And here, the wing segments then pull back like so, come down like that, and kind of fold up tied over the shoulder just like so, which is pretty cool. These segments right here, these attach onto the arms by sliding out this segment. That attaches onto the Barbatos's elbow hard point just like that. There's a handle which attaches into the hand like so. And then this just slides back on in its usual kind of way. Now giving it a little bit of a, well, a kind of Zagok hand, and that's as much as it opens. It doesn't open any more than that. Just a little bit, not too much. But yeah, that right there is what it looks like in its Daiku form. Actually, sorry, Daiju form. Looking pretty cool, honestly. The way that the thruster segments up here overlap into the armor just looks really, really cool. It's got a bit of a scyther feel to it. Overall, this is extremely, extremely nice looking, but it feels horrendous. I have to say, posing this and just getting this into any kind of a pose at all is slowly eroding my will to live. So I'm going to have to wrap this up pretty pretty soon before it drives me mad. But I'm just looking down the camera at it right now. It looks so damn awesome for something that's such a pain in the ass. But yeah, there's a couple of things you can do in this form, and if it falls apart, I'm leaving it fall apart because, you know, it's getting a bit much. Anyway, first off, this little segment here can come off like so, which is a very Barbatos Lupus Rex kind of thing, which of course did come from the mobile armor that it destroyed. We've got a wire in here for using with this. Thankfully, Bandai did include an absolutely hefty, oh man, it's a hefty wire, but this thing is not at all attaching onto that. Well, let's try it over here too then, shall we? Anyway, that wire pops up in there like that. At least that holds on okay. I'm gonna point this upwards, it's less likely to fall off. And if you kind of hook it into it, maybe it'll hold a little bit better. So yeah, that's what it's like. You can probably pop it up over the head and stuff. If you could absolutely be arsed. Thicken up that wire, it'll make your life a lot easier and saner. But yes, as you can tell with those hands, it can't hold on to this. So we do have a little attachment point right here. It's this one with the little ridge. This is one of those kits that's like playing Jenga or Buckaroo. You're gonna pop this on and hope for the best that something somewhere doesn't fall off. And thankfully it didn't, so that can mount up there. Not too bad. And that is what it looks like. There's kind of cannons in the center of those hands, but I don't want to touch this thing anymore. But before I end it, apparently there's more you can do with this. I just noticed I totally forgot this can be made into the amazing Iron Blood, a catapult type weapon comprised of a mace combined with a booster unit. It's pretty much as daft as it sounds. So basically you just do a whole bunch of this, that, and the other, recombine it into what looks like a Monster Hunter bowgun of some description, and this is what it looks like. You pop your Barbatos in behind it, grabbing onto the shaft of it. Obviously not with the Edward Scissorhands attached like so, without those, but at this point, like I said, I'm losing all hope and will to live with this kit right beside me. But yeah, this is what it does. It's unique, definitely, and an over-the-top weapon for an over-the-top, under-impressive mobile suit. Yeah, but that right there is it for the review. It's been quite a long time that I've actually ranked a kit bronze tier, but this right here is the one. And the sad thing about that is I'm an absolute Barbatos fanboy, especially for the Lupus, and this redesign is really cool too. It's just the one thing that Barbatos never ever needed was more stuff piled onto a very weak frame. But that's what they did with the Lupus, then the Lupus Rex, and now this. So it does mean there's really not a whole lot of saving it. You could tighten up a lot of the joints, but a lot of them are the polycaps that are the issues. The shoulders, the hips, those very long thrusters on the side skirts, they just don't really work out. It'd be great if Bandai actually did retool the Barbatos. Maybe a real grade would be nice. But yeah, I can't say I recommend this kit at all, honestly. Unless you want something that looks absolutely fantastic from your shelf, which it does. So that is the best thing about this. Aesthetically, it does look really nice. It will need a little bit to a medium bit of effort out of box to look particularly nice. When it comes to the accessories in here, they're the same as we saw before, and the backpack is interesting. The best part probably about this, but the mobile suit itself has so many issues kind of dealing with it. Finally, when it does come to the articulation, you might notice I didn't do it, but if you want to know more about that, the standard high-grade Gundam Barbatos Lupus review should go through all of that. The, well, TLDR about it is the articulation's not great and it's kind of falls apart a lot and it's not awesome. But yeah, it's bronze tier. I would say take a pass unless you really want to put some time into it and just love the way that it looks. Which I do, by the way. Anyway, this video right here wouldn't have been possible without those awesome people over at Hobby Link Japan. Link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, I can't finish this video without special thanks to those who support the channel on the memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Abraxas, Caleb Engelhardt, Joe, RG59061, Shadow Wolf 179, 10 Soldier YT, and Van Fawn.